All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm here with someone who is, I guess, like a familiar face on the show, but I've never actually interviewed you properly. It's kind of interesting that you've been on the podcast, you've done a live session at my house, you did some Patreon bonus content with me, but this is the first time I've actually interviewed you on the show, which is really strange.
That is wild, actually. Yeah.
It seems like that should have happened, like a while ago. But anyway, you have been on the show, so you're maybe a familiar face and voice and music to some listeners. But I like to always start it off with the guest introducing themselves and giving a bit of background about what they do as an artist.
Hi, I'm Paul Hodgert. I'm 6'3". I'm Cancer, and my favorite color is black. I play guitar and sing songs in vari- the broad milieu of punk, whether
Right
it's
on.
skate, hardcore, post, proto, maybe sometime emo,
Yeah,
whatever. I
yeah.
like it all. I play it all.
You run the gamut of the punk subgenres.
Yeah, at times.
So your album "Paul Is Dead" came out last year. It ended up being one of the many local albums on my list of things I listened to the most in 2024. And you have news about that record. It's sort of coming out in a new format, and there's also some other new music you've released very recently. But let's start with "Paul Is Dead." People may have listened to the interview you did on this show with Greg Soden of the Unscripted Moments podcast. He was a guest host and he talked to you all about that record. In preparation for this interview, I didn't listen to that again because I didn't want to have to. So I might be covering some of the same ground here. But before we get into sort of what the news is about this record, what can you tell me about that album? I mean, I really like it. It's very personal. It's very emotional, I guess is maybe a way to put it. But how do you sort of define the sound on that record?
Well, it's weird because, like I said, I do played a whole bunch of different styles of like punk and punk adjacent stuff. And when I looked back at this record that I thought I was making a punk record, it's pretty much an emo record, almost full stop. Not that every song sounds like an emo song, but it's a record about a time in my life when I had an infection in my brain and I'll spent a lot of time in hospitals with nobody knowing what was wrong, not knowing if I was ever going to get better. And then that coupled with the first 30 years of my life with undiagnosed depression and just all of the sort of fun stuff that comes along with death, illness, hallucinations, and then also the after effects of headaches and
Yeah.
memory issues that I've had ever since. That's it in a nutshell. Oh, and also, before any of that stuff happened, there's a little bit on there about my spouse almost dying shortly after our first child was born.
So I mean, that's all very heavy subject matter. And the thing that I find interesting about the record is that it's not. I mean, it is a heavy record in the sense of like emotionally heavy and subject matter and everything like that. But it's not. It's pretty cheery. I mean, considering what you're talking about. I mean, it's hooky, it's catchy, it's like it's upbeat, which is a weird thing to say about music covering those subjects.
That's almost in spite of myself. Don't I like writing sad things, but I tend to gravitate towards creating poppier melodies and things, and which I mean we'll talk about that a little bit later for some stuff. But like, yeah, I grew up on your favorite band, the Beatles.
we've talked about this at length in person, yeah.
So it's like pop songs are like a part of my DNA, even though I like am a big fan. I love power violence and pop music. Like that's
Well,
just where it comes from for me.
they don't need to be mutually exclusive, right? You can, I mean, that's one of the best things about music, especially now, is you have access to everything. So you can listen to, a grindcore record and then like, a Swedish teen pop record right at one after another, and it's not that weird anymore.
There have been times when I have listened to grindcore and then Robin, which is Swedish, not teen, but
Not
Swedish
teen,
pop that is absolutely brilliant.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and
So
it's
that
that's
it's funny that that exact example has happened. But so I mean, the album is great. You released it digitally, then you put out cassettes. I have a copy of the tape. I listen to it quite a lot. It's a great album. And now you have copies of this on vinyl.
yes, it is. It has come to vinyl in the most cost-effective to me way, which means that I'm not going to end up losing $10,000 due to unsold copies, which is what would definitely happen if I did it traditionally. Yeah, it's a vinyl on demand system where you can just go to paulhodgert.com and order the whole thing on LP. And I mean, I don't know. I know we have video. I've got one right here, and it looks real pretty. All the designs are based on like old um, jazz records and like old major label stuff with the like artist biographies and options on it because I love that stuff too.
Yeah, that stuff's great. It's very cool, and it definitely has that vibe too of those. I mean, jazz for me anyway. Specifically, it makes me think of jazz records, but I know a lot of stuff across. I mean, I have country records from that kind of era that do the same thing.
It was just a way to market stuff when marketing records wasn't that easy.
Yeah. Well, and it's not that easy anymore either. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about. I mean, you have this album now that is like we've described. It's poppy, it's catchy, it's got hooks. It has things that will draw people in who maybe aren't necessarily primed for the subject matter on the album. How do you sell something like this to people? Because first of all, you have the disadvantage of being in a world where everyone can release music 24/7 from their bedroom, and you're competing with for listens with every single artist in the world. And then secondly, I mean, it's a happy but gloomy record. I mean, it's heavy. So how do you who's it for? Like, does that matter?
I'll be honest, it's for me. Like that, the whole experience, all the experiences on that record were like large amounts of unprocessed trauma, and putting it all together was, I mean, it's not closure, but it
Yeah,
was a way for me to like work through a lot of it and realize a lot of the things that I was thinking and feeling. So I mean, if people hear it and like it, that is amazing. That touches my heart in such a profound way. If it's just mine, uh, if it's just for me, that's fine too, because I got so much out of it and it meant so much to me personally.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, I know you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I honestly don't know how to market it, which is why I just post on social media a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Is and I know you've played some of these songs live in my house. I mean, I've seen you play them live. You haven't done a ton of live shows, I don't think, with this material sort of since the record came out. What is it like singing some of this stuff in front of people? Because again, it's very personal, and despite the poppy, happy, upbeat nature of it, I mean, you're dealing with some serious shit here.
Yeah, some of it can be hard. Some of it is impossible to do live by myself. Specifically, there's one track that has almost no lyrics. It's just a bunch of like stacked harmonies and whoa
Yeah,
whoa over like fuzzy guitars. That one, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do live because it needs, I think, like eight singers. And while I definitely know eight people who can sing it, that's not a problem. Finding eight available people who could do it live, that's therein lies the rub. I
yeah,
coined the phrase, that's mine, brand new. But it's sometimes it's really hard. I get caught up in it, but other times I it just completely washes over me. Like I don't notice it. It's all over the place, really. It also depends if it's a song I've done live a few times. Like most of my performing right now, my father runs an open mic
mhm,
every Tuesday, and I just go to that to support him and support what he's doing, and because I want his project to succeed. He also is a musician. Um, so it's I just go play three songs. So the ones that I play more often, I don't think about, but when I'm doing something I've never done before,
yeah.
the song Flair versus Steamboat, Chi-Town Rumble. I did that at your house and then did it one other time. And the one other time was pretty heavy for me in the moment.
Okay.
Um, but then a song like St. Boniface, it's just a little guitar pop song. I do it all the time.
Okay, no, fair enough, fair enough. And I guess like I know you've been in projects before. This is not your first rodeo playing music and writing songs. Were your other songs this sort of confessional and personal in previous bands, or is this a new thing for you?
They were, but in the most sort of opaque layers of irony and bad metaphor and poetry nonsense. Like I thought I was the dude from the Mars Volta.
I know how you feel about the Mars Volta. Yeah,
For me, I more accurately, I thought I was the dude from At the Drive-In singing about small ghost towns with arcades and stuff like that, but it was still hyper personal things.
Right.
So I didn't even realize what I was talking about until years later, and I go back and listen. I'm like, oh my goodness, I was going through this, and that's what that meant. But that was always fast, angrier stuff.
Yeah.
Though it was a lot of it was equally sad. I realized I've like written maybe one happy song ever.
Well, you've written happy songs just about sad things.
Like, one song about a happy topic ever, which I know to a ska guy like you must sound crazy. It was just such a weird realization that, oh my goodness, I only write about the most depressing shit imaginable.
Well, is it okay then? On that idea of writing depressing shit, is it more like? Do you feel better about getting it out when it's more direct? I mean, now they have these songs that are, and we're going to talk about some new songs you have too that are also, deal with some very heavy stuff. Um, does it feel better to just say this stuff outright than to sort of couch it in metaphor or whatever?
It does. I don't want to be artless about it, but to make it as like making it more accessible and relatable does make a difference because I mean the song we're going to talk about later, I've had people say, "Hey man, this song means a lot to me. Thank you so much for writing this. It's helped me through a really tough time."
Yeah,
And that is so validating as not even as an artist, quote in scare quotes, or like a songwriter, but just as a person
yeah,
to be like help somebody and not even realize it. So being having stuff a bit more plain is it's definitely scarier, but also it ends up being more rewarding down the line. And I cringe at these songs much less than the weird lyrics I was writing previous.
sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. So with the you mentioned the Flair versus Steamboat thing. As a non wrestling guy, I need you to give me some context for this. I know you have before, kind of in conversations off air here, but I don't know that everyone listening to the show is a wrestling fan. I feel like there's a lot of them out there, but you've used this name more than once now. So what's the deal?
Okay, so Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat are and potentially two of the greatest wrestlers who've ever lived. I'm saying that in terms of their abilities in the ring and their abilities on the microphone and their character work, not as human beings. Ricky Steamboat seems like a great guy. I'll say that. Don't know too much about him. Ric Flair, less so. Probably still better than Hulk Hogan, though, but that's a
Right.
whole other. And in 1989, they had a, a three, but actually secretly four, but a three-match series of World NWA, National Wrestling Alliance, World Heavyweight Championship matches that are considered the greatest three, secretly four, match series of all time.
Okay.
It took place in Chicago at the Chi-Town Rumble, in I think new at the Superdome in New Orleans for Clash of the Champions 6, and then I try to remember where Wrestle War 89 was. And they traded the belt back and forth. And then there was a fourth show that wasn't televised or on pay-per-view that happened in Landover, Maryland. That is actually based on wrestling journalists who were there, said to be even better than
Oh,
the
cool.
three that were televised. So it's considered like this lost classic. And I'm a huge fan of old wrestling. I can sit on YouTube for hours watching old AWA, NWA, not much WWF or WWF or WWE stuff as much. But I just love old territory wrestling. Specifically, if you can find Winnipeg stuff from the West 4 Wrestling Alliance, I love that stuff the most. And I sort of look at wrestling as being an art form for everyone. There's
Okay.
no there's no pretension to wrestling. Like I think that everybody could get something out of jazz, but there are some jazz fans who are so pretentious and gatekeepy.
Yep.
There's no gatekeeping in wrestling. You can go to the local WPW shows. Shout out WPW, Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, amazing stuff. You can go to one of those shows and know nothing, like my spouse did, who doesn't like wrestling. And my spouse came out of that with a favorite wrestler in the world
Oh, cool.
named Threat, whose logo is the Minor Threat logo, but with Jody. So obviously Jody Threat's amazing, and she's a great wrestler. Um, or you can be a nerd like me who just delves into like the weird history and the back dealings. There's no barrier to entry and there's no gatekeeping, and that's what I think is so brilliant about it. And it's just a morality play.
Yeah.
It's and it's the stories are a morality play, and then the in-ring action is just people telling stories using their bodies and physicality and doing incredible things that you watch and you're just, how on earth can these people do these things? And to me that is just like the synthesis of what good art can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
And this specific series of matches elevated the form, and they're three of my favorites. Four, they would be four if I'd ever seen the fourth one. Um, and so just I like the idea of having a unifying theme between a number of songs. Um, and there's also the lyrical theme of there being no future, which happens, I realize now, pops up in three of my four Flair versus Steamboat songs. So I guess I'll keep that going on number four.
Right on. So,
An explanation of why wrestling is awesome and why I connected it to this series of songs.
no, that makes sense. It does make sense. So you have at the time of recording this, you just released two more songs. I guess it counts as a single in today's strange ecosystem.
I'm calling it a single with an A side and a B side.
Okay,
Yeah.
and these are also tied into this whole mythos of the Steamboat and Flair stuff.
Yeah. Chi-Town Rumble is on the Paul is Dead LP. And this one, the A side is Clash of the Champions 6, and the B side is Landover, Maryland House Show, which is it's not acoustic, but like a solo stripped down version of Chi-Town Rumble.
Okay.
Just electric guitar and one voice instead of the like double fast, no effects drums or whatever you want to call them.
Sure, sure, yeah. And actually, I mean, I kind of like how there's the two sides are very different style wise. I mean, you have the fast, not heavy, but you have the fast, upbeat electric one, and then you have this kind of mellow, stripped down solo song on as a B side.
Yeah, I enjoy it because they're both like equally sad, but I have no clue by listening to them.
That's like your whole catalog at this point.
I get it from Mountain Goats. Mountain Goats with songs like dance music and No Children that are some of the darkest lyrics, but to like the most upbeat, peppy songs. It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
I think the equivalent for me would be the Slackers, who have like some of the most depressing songs ever written, but they're a ska band. And it's like people, unless you listen to the lyrics, you're like, "Oh, this is awesome," and then it's like, "Holy crap! This is like, are you okay?"
You just finally convinced me to listen to the Slackers in
Slackers
this
are great.
moment because I've never actually heard the Slackers.
I will send you some stuff later. The singer's solo stuff you might like more. But anyway, back to your single here. I mean, this I, I know at the time this is we're recording this too. There's a lot of heavy stuff connected to some of the things you talk about in these songs. I don't know how much you want to get into it, but you've gone through some tragic stuff recently, and this is it seems like this is your way to sort of work through some of it.
Yeah,
From my perspective, anyway.
it's been really interesting. I wanted to do like a summer song single. My plan was to put it out on my birthday, which is the 1 year anniversary of the LP coming out. I had it come out on my 40th birthday, and I just turned 41 5 days ago.
Cool.
Um, I ended up pushing it back because it started off on June 4th. A friend of mine named Barry Arkley, who also he made beats as well. He was just a really great guy who I grew up with. Like, this is a guy who lived a few streets over from me, went to the same elementary and high schools. Like, I've known him for years. He passed away. And then a couple weeks later, I was at his funeral, and afterwards, I had gotten together with a few. A few of us got together at the after the thing at Park Alleys. Great. Oh, by the way, Park Alleys is great to anybody who hasn't been there yet. And I got to chatting with some other people that I grew up with. Matt Colpitz, who does music under the name Reverend Rambler, um, and our other friend from the neighborhood, Brendan Berg. Brendan, another guy I've known. Matt, Brendan, and I all grew up on the same street.
Cool.
They on one block. I was the next block for a few years, and then I was a few blocks down. And Brendan and I actually, he was the bass player and I was the guitarist in Churchill High School's jazz band. So like we were rhythm section friends who in between rehearsal would like jam out on punk songs.
Yeah.
Because the drummer Jeff Eastman, another guy I haven't seen him in years, but Jeff Eastman was also a punk rock guy. So the three of us would just like we'd play "The Only Good Fascist is a Very Dead Fascist" in between uh, rehearsal things when we're warming up. So the three of us decided that along with another guy, we're going to do our friend Barry's one of his favorite band of all time was the Misfits, and the three of us and another guy were going to do a Misfits cover set. We're going to put on a little show at some bar and do a cover set in honor of Barry. Um, so I started talking to Matt Colpitz, Reverend Rambler, about that. We were batting about some song ideas, and then on Canada Day, Brendan was involved in a car accident, and he and his partner Olivia passed away. So in the span of under a month, I lost two guys I grew up with, one of whom I had made music with,
Yeah.
and had planned in the last 2 weeks to make music with again. Um, and so I had this song, and I had the first verse kicking around. It was just sort of about that sort of millennial thing of like we're told all of this stuff by like the boomers and Gen X generation, like our that we can do anything we set our minds to. Just make sure you go to college and do all this, and then we all got here, and the economy fell apart, and the social order's falling apart, and all of that. So it was just basically the whole thing of like we have no future,
Yeah.
even though we need this future. And then after Brendan passed, I was thinking like, well, Brendan and Barry have no future, like fully no future. Like their time is done. So I just, after thinking about the song for like, I write weird. I write things in my head, lyrics, chords, arrangements, and I think on them for a couple of months, and then I go to record them. And when I go to record them, it's the first time I play them on an instrument.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird process. I'm aware. And for this, I knew I had a chorus and a first verse, and then I just whipped out my phone and just immediately typed up a second verse, just in one long line, no stops. Probably took me less than 3 minutes, and that's with one or two edits. That's the second verse on the song, which is about losing two friends and sort of thinking like what's happening to this community that you came from, like because these are all people from the same neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood, it's Riverview in South Osborne, which is part of Fort Rouge. Like the whole neighborhood's grieving. I've
Yeah.
been
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
I've been talking to friends who I haven't talked to in years, just trying to remember stuff, hold on to something. Our mutual friend Steve Spencer, who lives just outside Toronto, in Scarborough, like he's heartbroken that he can't make it to any of this stuff. I was messaging him this morning because this morning was the official proper Brendan's and Olivia's funeral this morning,
Yeah.
um, where I got to see everybody in the worst of all things. So I'm rambling now because obviously I'm kind of going through it still. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's fine. Don't apologize for ramble. I'm like I can't imagine. I do Brendan a little bit, very very like we nodding the like oh hey yeah actually I was in your old neighborhood there within the past month or two, and I walked past him on the street. We did the whole like hey we know each other nod, and that was it, and now obviously I wish I had talked to him, but I didn't know him well enough that that would have been the normal thing, right? But yeah, it's
We
shitty.
all wish we'd spent more time actually talking to him. It's like it's just what we all feel, and it makes you feel like garbage because even though you couldn't do anything to stop what happened, you feel like you could have made more of your time before.
Yeah, and everyone feels that every time anyone dies, right? Like you can't. There's no way to ever fix that.
Yeah. So I just want to quickly apologize for making this music podcast a podcast about death.
No, no. I mean, your album. I mean, your album is called "Paul is Dead" anyway. So I mean, it's kind of leaning in. Not
Come on.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, I should mention, yeah, the album's called Paul is Dead, which now feels like a really shitty title to have used, but it's a Beatle joke, so whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you have these two songs, and obviously, like you said, you're going through it. This is a very strange time to be releasing, not only releasing music because you have so much else going on, but also releasing music that's this personal and deals with subject matter that just happened too, right? It's not like this is something you're reflecting on 5 years down the road, and maybe you will in other music, but this is like so fresh. Um, do you think you're gonna be able to play this stuff live? Like, is that something that's gonna be able? Like, can you even? Yeah, I don't know how you even think about that.
I don't know, and the fact that I don't know means I probably should.
Okay.
Like, just getting it done and out, and like, you and I were even talking about like when I was planning to release this over text a couple of
Yeah.
days ago, and I know there's a huge leg on streaming services, so I decided to do it's right now. It's on Bandcamp exclusively, paulhodgert.bandcamp.com. Great time to do a plug. And it's going to be on streaming on July 25th. But I decided I need to put it on Bandcamp right now because this is something that the writing and creating of it was something that I needed, and I have heard from other friends from the neighborhood who've listened to it during particularly dark moments that it has helped them. So, as difficult as it was to do it this quickly, I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
Like I said before, as a human being, to know that you've done something to help somebody through something tough, no matter what it is that's the best thing we can do because we're just here to love each other and to help each other and lift each other up. That's the whole reason we're here.
for sure. And I think yeah, it's definitely a feeling of accomplishment, right? Whether you meant it or not, the fact that someone has taken anything you've done, whether it's a text message or a song or a photograph or whatever, right? Like that can yeah, it can definitely affect people in a big way that you might not even expect.
Yeah. For all I know, people who I've never met who knew Brendan and Olivia or Barry. For all I know, people I've never met have heard this song and it's helped them in some way. And the idea that something I created would help somebody feels so much like I. It feels such a weird thing to say out loud because I feel like I'm really pumping my own tires here. It's a little goofy pop punk song about death. It's not
Yeah.
like great piece of art, but I hope people like it. I think it's pretty catchy.
But sometimes all people need is a little catchy pop punk song, right? They don't necessarily need some kind of like big elaborate dirge of a song to talk about death. Sometimes you want to have it in this kind of breezy sort of way, almost not to take away from the seriousness of it, but you want something that's lighter to sort of because you're already weighed down with heaviness. And I mean, I imagine listening to something considerably darker might not sort of
Side
have the same impact. So
side too. But the funny part is, I had no intention of making this a pop punk song. I was just putting some stuff down. I had a couple of chords and melody ideas. And then when I just started laying it down, that's just what it became. And I was like, well, better lean into it because if I don't, it's going to sound really weird.
for sure, for sure. So if people are new to your music and maybe they missed the previous appearances on the show that you did, or they haven't, heard you in any other context, what's the best way to find this? I know at the time we're recording this, like you said, it's sort of Bandcamp, but it's going to be elsewhere. And then you also have the record. What's if someone wants to find your stuff in general? I mean, they could be a week from now or a year from now. Where do they go?
Everything can go through paulhodgert.com. That my name spelling is in the episode. If you, I always feel weird spelling my name because it's a weird one,
I'll
but
link to the website too, so people can just click on the show notes. Yeah,
it's a name that people often mispronounce, even though it contains another well-known last name
yeah,
as the majority of it. Which I find it so weird that people still don't recognize that, but whatever. And spelling your own name is a weird thing to do out loud on a podcast. But yeah, paulhodgert.com, that has links to the store for the LP, to my Bandcamp where you can get cassettes or digital downloads, links to YouTube where the songs can be found, as well as a couple of weird live streams I've done. I think I should get back into live streaming, I'm pretty sure. I should do some more of that.
yeah. They don't need a pandemic for that. You can just do it anyway.
Do it. I mean, I've got a pretty decent little setup here.
Cool. And then just quickly, these two new songs that you have out, are they leading up to a larger release, or for now are you just doing the single thing?
my plan is, and all plans are subject to change, is this is just a standalone single, its own thing, separate. It's not promoting anything else coming up.
Okay.
But I do have a fall slash winter thing in mind. I'm not even going to say what it is because I don't know if it's going to happen, but I have a thing in mind. And then, I mean, if I really get lazy, I can just say the thing was a live stream and just do a live stream of Christmas songs like I did at your house.
Right on. Right on.